Hello and welcome back to Offline Review, the series where I review games based off of their offline functionality, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing LEGO 2K Drive. For those who don't know, LEGO 2K Drive is a new LEGO racing game developed by Visual Concepts and obviously published by 2K, and actually it being developed by Visual Concepts is what had me a little worried about this game's offline functionality, because they're also the people who developed the NBA 2K games, and those games aren't really well known for having good offline functionality. Now, I guess the question that y'all are going to be asking is if the game is even playable offline at all, and the answer to that is yes. In fact, actually the offline mode in this game is quite a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Now, in terms of the modes you have access to offline, you have access to the story mode, you have access to the cup series, you have access to just the standard races, and you also have access to mini-games, and not only can you play all of those in single player, but you can also play all of them in two-player split screen. And in terms of progression, you can level up offline, you can unlock cars offline, you can unlock customization stuff, including like new characters and stuff offline. You even have access to the garage, so you can just build whatever car you want if you don't like the ones that the game gives you. It's actually a pretty solid offline mode overall, with one exception. The one thing that isn't really accessible offline is going to be Unky's Emporium, which is basically the game's microtransaction shop. And honestly, there isn't really a whole lot in the store, and the things that are in the store are so expensive to buy with in-game currency that it's actually going to take a pretty ridiculous amount of grinding if you want to buy anything without just using real-life money. It's pretty bad. In fact, you actually earn stuff through story mode way faster than you would by just buying stuff through Unky's Emporium. So because of that, I honestly don't really consider it much of a loss. The stuff that you can get in Unky's Emporium is like the same sort of stuff that you unlock through story mode anyways. So yeah, it is kind of a shame that you can't access it offline, but at the same time, I don't really think I would consider it a deal breaker. Now, how about the disc version of the game? After all, if you don't have any internet to play the game, there's a good chance you might not have any internet to download any sort of updates or anything either. So having a good experience without any updates is still pretty important too. Now, I'll start off by just saying don't buy the Switch version of the game because it straight up doesn't even come with a cartridge. It's literally a download code inside of a case. Don't buy that version. I bought the PS4 version, so I'm going to be speaking about my experience with the PS4 version in particular. There is a chance that other versions might be slightly different off disc, so just know that going into it. So my experience with the PS4 disc version was actually mostly pretty smooth. Mostly. I did have two occasions where the on-the-go HUD would stay on the screen even after I had finished the on-the-go event. But quitting back to the main menu and just reloading story mode made that issue go away. I did also have two times where the game completely froze on my playthrough as well. In fact, actually these two times were in particular kind of weird because they actually froze my entire PS4. I actually had to completely reboot my PS4 in order to get out of the freeze, which I don't think I've ever seen in a PS4 game before. I have seen PS5 games do that before, but I've never seen a PS4 game do that. But it only happened to me twice in my like 10 hours of playing, and both times after I rebooted the console, it was fine. So not a massive problem, and plus it also seemed to only happen after I was playing the game for like a really long time. So also, I did have one case where I unlocked a brick pack for the garage after beating a race, but the visual that it showed for the brick pack kind of looked sort of like a placeholder model, sort of. But when I went into the actual garage to use the brick pack, it was perfectly fine, so it was just a visual problem, not anything that really affected gameplay very much. And yeah, those were literally the only real problems I encountered when playing the game on PS4. Definitely not like a completely flawless experience, but not horrible either. Like if you're playing the game without updates, honestly, it's a pretty smooth experience for the most part. And basically, to sum it all up, the offline experience in this game really isn't that bad. It definitely could be better with Unky's Emporium being accessible offline and also to see those few bugs in the disc version not be there. But for the most part, it's a pretty solid experience and one that I would recommend to people who don't have any internet. So my final offline score for this game is going to be a 7 out of 10. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.